The joint opposition commenced a journey from Devinuwara carrying an epistle from Lord Vishnu. The journey of the epistle carrying an order to God Vibhishana in Kalaniya is held under the patronage of a group of monks including Venerable Muruttetwe Anandathera. The epistle will be handed over to God Vibhishana tomorrow. The epistle demands that the government be chased away and the country be made prosperous again. The biggest mistake is this. Lord Vishnu is the chief of gods. Lord Vibhishana is Ravana's brother. They had the same father but two mothers. Lord Vishnu has power across the country. Why is there an epistle being sent to Lord Vibhishana? I do not understand. Lord Vibhishana is the Lord in Kalaniya. Lord Vibhishana has no power to carry out tasks across the country. These matters are hilarious. I think only Bertie Gunatilaka remains. Annesley and Samuel are no more. The best jokers are no more. They were comedy kings. The people do not have anything to laugh about. I am disappointed that the Mahasangha do not look into these matters properly. I would have gone if I was invited. Who are they walking for? They are walking for a person who left the country after he was defeated in the election. I am ashamed to mention the name. He was involved in robbery and commissions. They are trying to uplift him. If they wanted an epistle, they could have got someone to write a song like Karunaratna Besekara wrote to his girlfriend.
Mega Duteki Yela or Karunaratna Besekara Tamange Pemmati Liuage Enna Madanale Koshpavasanna Duka Mage Yannata Hatti Obata Pamani Sirageta Age.
These are plans to go into prison. The government should not be deceived by such actions. They are trying to provoke and go to jail.
The
gods listen to benevolent people and treat them. For example, the bank would not give you a loan if you do not have money in your account. A person who has no benevolence will not receive any help from the gods.
Protests continue against the second phase of the Central Expressway. Discussions conclude without result. World Bank to finance new $125 million road infrastructure project. Dr. Rangakalan Surya resigns from DG position. DEW Gunasekara makes further revelations on the bond scam. Mumbai railway station stampede kills 22. A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Prashant Devasagayam.
And I'm Arundhati Mudannaika. Tonight we begin a new segment in our Primetime English Bulletin. A picture speaks louder than words. Cartoonist Asanga Laduahetti arrived at our Newsfirst studios this evening and began tonight's illustrated news. Residents of Henemul area in Kurunegala obstructed work on the second phase of the Central Expressway for a third consecutive day today.
The protesters charged that they have not been provided with proper compensation and added that the project, which is earlier promised to be constructed on pillars, is now being built at ground level by filling up lands. Discussions between officials in charge of the construction and area residents took place at the Nailia Viharya in Kurunegala.
Since January, we have not been provided with any compensation. An assessment has not been done as well. We expressed our opposition because the people have not received what was promised. In some occasions, estimations have been done, but they have not received any money for the past 3 months. How can they fill up lands of the people without any compensation? How can they reclaim farmlands? I'm the keeper of law and order here. We cannot resolve issues by fighting. We have no need to create another Ratupassala here.
According to area residents, the discussions ended without a result.
The discussions were a failure because we did not get what we expected. We discussed the common issues. Since we didn't get a proper response, we left. The engineers cannot answer our questions. They have designed roads on our land and they are filling it up.
We have deposited the compensation for the residents to the bank accounts to the Kurunegala Divisional Secretariat area's bank accounts. It will take a couple of days for this to realize. There is a rumor that has spread that only 1.6 kilometers will be built on pillars. In reality, 9.3 kilometers will be built on pillars that minimizes the damage. The threat of floods is thereby minimal. There is a small delay due to the protest. The government suffers a loss because of this as well, as the government will be forced to pay late fees.
Residents of Vennurovatta in the Alawa Divisional Secretariat area have been forced to endure many challenges that illegal land excavations are taking place to obtain earth for the expressway project.
I have been using this well for nearly 35 years. There isn't a drop of water in this well today. I believe this is because of the excavations for the expressway. We are not calling for this construction work to stop, but it needs to be done in a way we have water to drink as well.
A discussion was held in Colombo recently to discuss issues experienced in creating environmental impact assessment reports.
We remain silent regarding issues relating to environmental assessment laws. There are political influences and we have seen their repercussions. The Uma Oya is the best example. They granted approvals, but when the issues started to crop up, they took a look at the environmental impact assessment report and realized it was not complete. This project has clearly proven that you cannot commence work on a project and then try to bring about temporary solutions.
There is no way for the general public to appeal once approval is granted for a project.
Over the past 10 years, there was a drastic increase in the number of large-scale projects in the country. If you look at the situation in Gaul and Mathura today, after the construction of the expressway, there are floods with the slightest rainfall. There is a higher risk of floods. So how correct was the assessment reports?
Shouldn't written assurances be provided on how compensation will be granted for people affected by the Central Expressway? Similarly, shouldn't assurances be provided that surrounding areas will not be affected by flooding because of the expressway construction? Today, the World Bank announced that the Transport Connectivity and Asset Management Project was signed today by Ida Swarai Ridaf, the World Bank Country Director for Sri Lanka and the Maldives, and RHS Samaratunga, who is the Secretary to the Treasury at the Ministry of Finance.
According to the World Bank, the new project will help strengthen the RDA by focusing on the institutional and system changes that can transform the authority from a provider of infrastructure to a service provider. The release says Sri Lanka is joining other countries in moving from a traditional approach to road infrastructure and maintenance, which pays the contractor based on progress, to a new approach based on contractor performance. This approach will create incentives for better quality and timely interventions, which will provide the public with better maintained roads at a lower cost to the government. The project is financed through a $125 million loan from the World Bank. The loan for this project is provided by the International Development Association, or IDA, the World Bank's grant and low-interest arm, with a maturity of 25 years that includes a grace period of 5 years. The project also supports a program financed by the Asian Development Bank. The RDA is the lead implementing agency.
A staff team from the International Monetary Fund has concluded a visit to assess the progress of the economic reform program. Discussions are expected to continue in October in the United States during the annual meetings of the IMF and the World Bank.
The path for Sri Lanka to obtain the third tranche under the extended fund facility appears to be positive.
So right now, we are doing the third review. Once the review is completed, which is done by the executive board of the IMF, approving the recommendation. So if we recommend to the executive board that the performance has been satisfactory, therefore, we would propose a third review to be completed favorably. And if the executive board accepts that recommendation and deems the third review complete, then we are all ready to go with the release of a third tranche.
According to the IMF staff team, the passage of the landmark Inland Revenue Act is a major achievement that will support the Sri Lankan government's ambitious social and development program.
The new Inland Revenue Act should provide a very solid foundation for continuing improvement in government finances, as well as providing a new systematic and transparent tax regime, which we all expected to have far-reaching benefits in terms of promoting private sector activity and providing foundation for generating higher government revenues, which in turn will be able to provide more resources for government's very ambitious social and development programs. After good achievement, there of course always remains more things to be done.
The IMF staff team says growth is projected to remain below 4.5% for 2017 and to rebound next year as agricultural production normalizes and infrastructure projects pick up. The central bank is requested to remain vigilant in monitoring inflation pressures.
If such need arises to tighten further, then tighten. That has been our suggestion, and I think that it is reasonably consistent with the current stance of central bank's monetary policy as well as we.
President Maithripala Sirisena reiterates that he will not allow the creation of a constitution which harms the concept of a unitary state.
When I was going through the papers in the morning, the front pages of some papers carried a letter issued by several Mahanayaka Theros. The letter stated that according to the interim report presented in Parliament, the country will head towards a divided country through the new constitution. I called President's Council Jam for the Vikramaratne and inquired into this. He said that we have no intention of doing this and that the Theros may have been misled. As a government, we need to clearly state that we will not bring about or allow the creation of any constitution which divides the country. The President shared these thoughts during an event at the Gamunapura Buddhist Center in Ampara to confer the title of Mahanayaka of the Udarata Amarapura Samagri Sangasabhava to Venerable Girambe Mangalathero. The construction activities of the trilingual national school in Kadiruela, Polonnaruwa commenced under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena today. Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Taranjit Singh Sandhu also attended the event.
Welcome back here with News First. Director General of the Government Information Department, Rangakalan Surya, has resigned from his position. Deputy Minister of Finance, Mass Media Lasantha Legewana confirmed this to News First. Rangakalan Surya has resigned citing personal reasons.
The Daily Mirror newspaper reported today that the chairman and acting CEO of the National Public-Private Partnership Agency, Thilan Vijayasinghe, had members of the media thrown out of an event to restrict the public release of information.
The report noted that members of the media were thrown out despite the media being told that the forum was open to them by the parent body of the organizers. According to the event organizers, any business leader who had registered for the event by paying a certain registration fee was able to participate in discussions with Vijayasinghe, who is a public official. The report further stated that over 50 privileged businessmen and professionals were enlightened by Wijesinghe on public-private partnerships at the event organised by the Sri Lanka-Italy Business Council of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, clearly indicating that there is a massive gap between the information available to the elite and the public. Newsfirst has also learned that journalists had signed the media registration at the event and had taken their seats when the incident occurred. Incidentally, the situation took place when the government was celebrating the RTI Day in Colombo, not far away from the location.
It is strange for us how a government body can conduct a discussion on investments and development in the country by closing the doors, closing the doors to the media. It is totally contrary and against and contradicting the view expressed by the president of this country. He, in fact, when the media pointed out that there were some questionable things happening in a deal that was related to the third stage of Central Highway, you know what the president proclaimed was, no, go and have a public discussion in front of the media. Such being the views of the head of the state, I don't know how Thilan Wijesinghe, being a public servant, take up that issue and then shut out the doors for the public. And what are they going to discuss behind closed doors about development? I mean, if it is a national security issue or some issue concerning internationally related affairs affecting another country's position or sovereignty, I mean, this is nonsense.
If this was an attempt to prevent information that is paramount to the people from being reported, it is in complete violation of all accepted international norms and the concept of good governance.
Also in local news, 13 North Central Provincial Councillors who support the joint opposition faction of the UPFA received membership of the Podujana Peramuna today. The provincial councillors convened a media briefing to clarify their position.
The tenure of the North Central Provincial Council will conclude at midnight on the 1st. The government has taken steps to postpone the elections by bringing in the 20th Amendment. When we went to the Supreme Court, they brought it in through other means and they are delaying the election. We have taken steps to join the Podujana Peramuna in the opposition against this process. The Left Centre convened a media briefing today. There is no need of conducting an election according to the whims and fancies of the joint opposition. Adjust the voting system before holding an election. Change the electoral system. Build a civilized electoral system. They are asking to hold the elections not to safeguard democracy. They say Mahinda Rajapaksa held the elections in a proper manner while protecting democracy. The joint opposition says that elections were held at the right time. They did not hold the elections at the right time. They held the elections at the convenient time for them. Mahinda Rajapaksa did not hold elections at the right time. The election was held when it was good for Mahinda Rajapaksa. They went for an election as soon as the war ended. They checked the horoscope and held the election. He went for an election when the fortune teller told him to do so. But things went wrong on the 8th of January. They were deceived on the 8th of January.
The 21st convention of the Communist Party in Sri Lanka was held in Colombo today. General Secretary of the party, E.W. Gunasekara, expressed these views.
The corruption has now become a part of economics. There is no point of economics planning matters. Corruption ruins all of it. There is no point saying that the gross domestic product is 8%. There is 2% of corruption there. The economists have worked for 20 years and released a book. The book shows reasons for the economic imbalance and poverty. The reason is the layer of financial capitalists. This cannot be controlled by the government. You saw this through the bond issue. When the court presented its report in Parliament, I was watching it on television from home. I saw that this will never get enacted. The Commission has revealed what we could not. This is not mere robbery or corruption. There is something serious. I am compiling a list now. I will have names on it. I will reveal it in the future.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe visited the model smart classroom at Sri Jayawardhanapura Mahavidyalaya in Kotte today.
Accompanied by MPs and ministers, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe inquired into the progress made. If the two main political parties come together, three things could have been achieved. The debt could have been repaid, employment opportunities could have been created through a good education system. The two political parties enter into a tug-of-war when it comes to education. But we need funds. We did not have funds in 2015. Our revenue has increased compared to the debt burden, but we need to obtain more funding. Like we did for the Hambantota port, we have obtained funding in place of loans. Investments will be obtained in the coming 3 years. When the economy is developed, come 2020 and 2025, we will repay all the debt. The tough period would be the next 3 years.
Minister of Housing and Construction Sajith Premadasa provided financial aid to develop the drinking water system in Aranavanamulla, Hambantota. The donation was made under the Samata Savana project.
14 million rupees have been allocated for this project from the funds of the Ministry of Housing and Construction. 232 families will benefit from this water project. The people of Ratapaswala asked for clean drinking water. The then president made a decision to provide water to them through T-56 rifles. It was T-56 assault rifles that provided the people of Ratapaswala with water. Today, they ask you what the difference is between then and now. They ask you if you are happy. The difference is today, when you ask for water, we give you water and not bullets. We are not used to that system of violence. That is because we are a disciplined government.
The 30th annual conference of the Organization of the Professional Associations of Sri Lanka was held in Colombo yesterday. Speaking at the event, the governor of the central bank elaborated on the Hambantota port and industrial zone.
I've always felt that we may not have framed the discussion about the long lease of Hambantota port as appropriately as we could have done. Clearly, the country has to get the best possible deal. That one needs to negotiate to make sure that Sri Lanka's interests are protected. But that it's not just a port deal. Because what the port deal does is that it catalyzes billions of dollars of investment in that region. To begin with, the Chinese are going to build a steel billet factory, an LNG plant, refinery, a ship repair facility, and cement factory. These are what they call foundational industries to help build the industrial zones they have in mind. Now, 69 years after independence, there's remarkably little that has been done for the people of Mondragana. Remarkably little that has been done for the people of Hoover. The people of Hambantota have assets that don't work for them. And by leasing this port to China Merchant, it unlocks, as I said, billions of dollars of investment to develop an area which has not had a decent deal in independent Sri Lanka.
Pathfinder Foundation entered into a cooperation agreement with the Xinhua news agency to publish a new series named the China Watch.
The series, which will bring out the latest news in the fields of science, technology, business and politics in China, will be published through print and digital media.
The purpose of this is to enhance the awareness of the Sri Lankan community in general, business community, academics and professionals about the latest developments in China as the China merge as the world's one of the most powerful nations.
Founder of the Pathfinder Foundation, Milinda Murugoda, was also present at the occasion.
The debate on the interim report of the Steering Committee of the Constitutional Assembly, which was presented in Parliament by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on the 21st, will be held on the 30th and 31st of October as well as on the 1st of November.
According to the Additional Secretary of the Constitutional Assembly Secretariat, Yuresha Fernando, views and proposals expressed during the debate will be taken into consideration by the Steering Committee before their final report is formulated. The final report will then need to receive a two-thirds majority from the Constitutional Assembly. If a two-thirds majority is not achieved, the Constitutional Assembly will be dissolved. In either scenario, the new bill will next pass to the Parliament. However, in case of a failure to obtain a two-thirds majority in the Constitutional Assembly, the government can once again attempt to obtain a two-thirds majority in Parliament within a month of the bill entering Parliament. Once the bill passes through Parliament, it will next go to the Cabinet for ratification. If the new bill violates Article 83 of the current constitution, the government will be compelled to hold a referendum.
Well, before we go in for another short commercial break, let's take a look at how cartoonist Asanga Laduaheti is progressing with tonight's news illustration. Let's now take a look at the final product of our cartoonist Asanga Laduaheti. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us.
And well, it was a pleasure having you with us. I'm Krishan Devasagai. Take care. Good night.